everyone, welcome back to Rumor Society. Today we're discussing updates in the Kada Scott case. We'll also be talking about the timeline leading up to when her body was found. Before we get into the video, all details presented today is based on public available information, media reports, and my own research. I'm not affiliated with law enforcement and nothing shared here should be taken as fact beyond what's already been reported. Kada Scott's body was found 2 weeks after her disappearance. Her death has been ruled a homicide, and the prime suspect, Keon King, is now charged with unaliving her. Philadelphia Police Deputy Commissioner made their initial announcement on X on Wednesday. His statement reads as follows: "The ME has ruled the cause of death for Kada Scott as homicide. Our investigators have completed their work and are forwarding a recommendation of murder charges to the DAO. We'll continue to pursue justice for Ms. Scott, her family, and all victims of crime." The Philadelphia DA's office then confirmed that they approve additional charges against King. He is now charged with unaliving, robbery, theft, violation of the Uniform Firearms Act, possession on instrument of crime, tampering with evidence, abuse of a corpse, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. While Scott's death was ruled a homicide, officials have not yet revealed the exact cause of death. Alright y'all, I just wanted to cut in really quickly because as I'm editing this video, there was another update with the case. The Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office on Thursday concluded that 23-year-old Kada Scott died from a gunshot wound to the head. Several court documents have been revealed in the case, and there's now a clear timeline of events. Let's discuss some of those details. October 2nd, 2025, Kada Scott received a text that read, "Yo Kada, this my new number." Scott then replied by asking, "Who this?" The other person identified himself as Kel. Investigators identified Kel as Keon King. On October 3rd, around 11:30 p.m., Philadelphia police responded to Sprague Street for a vehicle theft in progress. A delivery driver told police they left a 2008 black Hyundai Accent running and unlocked when a man dressed in all black entered the vehicle and drove off northbound. On October 4th, at 10:07 a.m., Scott texts King, "Kidnap me again," to which he replied, "Better be up too." Later that day, around 9:45 p.m., Scott left her family home to go to her overnight shift at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill. A co-worker at the nursing home told police they last saw Scott around 10 p.m. that night outside the workplace. According to the co-worker, Scott appeared to be upset and was overheard saying, "I can't believe you're calling me about this, S." Scott then walked toward a dark-colored SUV that was parked outside the job. The SUV left immediately after. Scott and King had one last text exchange at 10:09 p.m. that night, which read, "Call me when you're here." The phone that King allegedly used was registered to another person, investigators said. Police say the cell phone data showed that King and Scott were together in the area of East Abington Avenue around 10:15 p.m. that night, traveling eastbound toward Mount Pleasant Avenue. Investigators said there was a total of 12 phone calls made from Scott's phone between 9:25 p.m. and 10:12 p.m. that night. After 10:24 p.m., there was no more contact with her phone. Investigators believe Scott was unalived around 20 to 30 minutes after disappearing that night. Surveillance video then showed a dark-colored vehicle pulling into the parking lot of the Auberry Recreation Center at 10:28 p.m. that night and backing into a parking spot near the playground, across the driveway from the vacant Ada Lewis Middle School. Police believe the vehicle was the stolen Hyundai Accent. A person was spotted in the surveillance video exiting the vehicle and walking through the playground towards the fence line between the recreation center and the school. Cell phone data also showed that King traveled to the Auberry Auditorium in Philadelphia's Germantown section before returning to the area of Belmar Terrace. The next day was October 5th, and that's when Scott's family reported to the police that she was missing after she never returned home from work. Later that night, around 11:39 p.m., a vehicle pulled into the parking lot near Auberry Recreation Center. The vehicle parked near what appeared to be King's Toyota Camry. Surveillance video then showed two people exit the Camry. Both individuals then left out of view of the surveillance camera while the vehicle remained in the parking lot. The two individuals appeared from the playground and approached the area where the Toyota Camry had been parked. They approached the Toyota Camry and removed a heavy object consistent with a human body. They then carried the object towards the playground area. On October 7th at 2:48 a.m., a person was spotted running from the playground area of the rec center and entering the driver's seat of the Toyota Camry. Shortly after, police responded to a report of a burned Hyundai Accent. When they arrived, they discovered the car was no longer at the location, but instead had been compacted at a nearby junkyard. Police determined King used the stolen vehicle to move Scott's body, and then he also set the car on fire. On October 10th is when police did a search of the Albury Arboretum, but they didn't find Scott. Surveillance video also showed King's Toyota Camry arriving at Gypsy Lane condominiums around 3 p.m. that day. After police identified King as a suspect in Scott's disappearance, he surrendered to the police on Tuesday, October 14th. Since that day, he's been in custody and is being held on $2.5 million bail. October 15th is when police announced King's arrest, and they held a press conference. They then released surveillance photos of King's vehicle. That's the gold Toyota Camry. Police then responded to Ada Lewis Middle School later that day after receiving a tip. That's where they discovered her cell phone case outside the school. Later that same day, police received another tip and responded to Gypsy Lane condominiums, and that's where they found the Toyota Camry in the parking lot. Police towed the vehicle and searched through it but didn't find Scott. On October 17th, there were community members and Scott's family. They've been searching for her since her disappearance. They found signs of an interest at the Ada Lewis Middle School. Some individuals were making complaints of a strange smell around the school. Then later that day, around 10 p.m., police received a very specific anonymous tip regarding Scott's whereabouts. Police returned to Ada Lewis Middle School on Saturday, October 18th. At that time, they did find a body. At that time, the body was not confirmed to be Kada Scott. According to officials, the body was found in a shallow grave in a wooded area near the school. The next day, October 19th, the human remains were identified as Kada Scott. The medical examiner was able to identify the body by using DNA evidence. That same day, the Philadelphia DA's office approved new charges against King. They also stated that other people may be involved in Scott's disappearance. The latest update did come on October 22nd. Officials announced Scott's death was ruled a homicide. They also announced that King is now charged with unaliving, robbery, theft, and a list of other charges. While King is in custody, officials are still asking the public for more tips, and they're also asking for any other victims of King to please come forward. We do know that King had a criminal record prior to his alleged involvement in Scott's kidnapping and unaliving. Investigators said King kidnapped and assaulted another victim earlier this year. There's a video on social media showing a man who investigators identified as King hopping a fence, walking up to the window of a North Philadelphia home. The woman recording the video tells King to leave before telling another woman to call the police. The video then shows King walking to the side of the home and peeping into a window trying to get inside. While King was charged for that incident, the case was withdrawn in May 2025 because the victim didn't show up in court. The charges against King in connection to the earlier kidnapping were refiled on Tuesday, October 14th. Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner has faced a lot of criticism over the withdrawal of King's earlier kidnapping case.
Go back to Larry Krasner. So he started blaming the judges on why Keon King was out on the street. He talked about the bail. So I was one of those judges he was talking about. I was a municipal court judge. And for those who don't understand what goes on in a court, somebody gets arrested, there's an arraignment. We have magistrates who take the hearing. That magistrate will put a bail on a defendant. There's usually a representative from the DA, a representative from the public defender, or a defense attorney. This court is 24/7. The decision is made by the magistrate. If either side does not like that decision, you can call a judge immediately. 24/7, there's availability to appeal a bail decision. Krasner's office, as a matter of course, does not appeal a bail decision. Yet yesterday, during his press conference of this poor woman, Kada Scott, I'm sorry, Larry, but you got blood on your hands on this one.
To me, it appears that these officials are going to use what happened to Kada to set the stage for their political re-election. That's why we're seeing a lot of this blame game going on, blaming the bail system, blaming the judges. It's really easy to get lost in the politics and forget what really matters at this time. And in this situation, it's Kada, the fact that her family is currently mourning. So we want to just keep that family in our prayers. And then also to the community members that showed up and had a vigil for her. I feel like that's the only thing that should matter right now. Not these politicians and not what they're gunning for when it comes to elections. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.